And so yesterday, the Lakers lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves 111 to 118. And I did like the effort. I thought the effort and energy was a lot better than it has been the last few games, especially without LeBron James. Gabe Vincent was out as well, but Gabe Vincent only returned for one game. So how much of an impact would he have been there? This is kind of the game where, you kind of talk yourself into, like, if LeBron played, the Lakers win this game, and they very well may have. But I do appreciate the effort, right? D'Lo also had an excellent fourth quarter, which he was atrocious leading into that fourth quarter. But my hope is, like we saw with Austin Reeves like 2 weeks ago now, or whatever it was, 3 weeks ago now, where like Reeves had that, like, he was struggling mightily, and then he had that quarter where he just really broke out, and he's been better since, and he's averaging like 20 a game since then. Same thing with Taurean Prince, right? Taurean Prince had that, like, in that blowout loss, I think it was against Philly, where Prince was just struggling. He was terrible the previous, like, 5 games before that. It was like, oh, look, Prince is another guy that just forgot how to shoot when he came with the Lakers. And then he hit like 3 straight threes in that Philly game. And since then, he's been just lights out. The guy's been great. He had that one bad game the other day, but 2 games since, he's been right back to where he left off. And even yesterday, he was 4-4 from the field. Problem is that the Lakers are just a sinking ship. I mean, they really are right now. This is a team that we are literally a game out from completely being out of the play-in. And 2 weeks ago, we were a team that had so much optimism. Oh, we win the in-season tournament. Life's good. We're 5 games over 500. It's like, all right, let's buckle down and let's start our quest for that Larry O'Brien. And we've only won 1 game against the Spurs by 3 points, and we've lost 4 straight. It's just been a disaster for the Lakers. The defense hasn't been where it was. The offense has been just non-existent. The Lakers just can't seem to score the basketball with levels of consistency. Every game, they have multiple stretches where they just will go 3 or 4 minutes without scoring, or they'll have like a field goal in that entire stretch or span. And look, it doesn't matter how great your defense is. You could have the best defense in the history of the league. If you can't score enough points to keep your defense fresh, well, then it doesn't matter, right? And also, defense usually leads the offense, which then sparks the defense further. And you see, right? Like, you have some great defensive sequences. It usually continues when your offense is hitting. But when your offense isn't hitting, and nobody can score the basketball with consistency outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, well, then your defense at some point is going to have breaks. It's going to break down. It's only going to be able to hold teams as hard as, for as long as possible, right? And it's just, the Lakers are in trouble. I mean, it's that simple. This team is not a contender, right? I'll still take my chance. Like, if the Lakers make the playoffs and you give me a healthy LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I'll take my chances, right? The only team that has beaten LeBron James and Anthony Davis in a playoff series is Denver, right? Even the Phoenix Suns, when they eliminated them both, you got to remember, they were up 2-1, looked like they were about to go up 3-1, and then Anthony Davis got hurt. Outside of that, they either haven't been in the playoffs or somebody's been injured. So I'll take my chances if both are healthy come playoffs in a 7-game series, but I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't count on it, right? Like, I wouldn't even take them to come out of the first round right now. Now, the optimistic side of me is like, okay, look, this month has been brutal, right? Again, you look at the standings, and we're on a 4-game losing streak. We're a game ahead of the Warriors. I do think we're better than the Warriors. I think we're better than the Rockets. I think we're better than the Pelicans, right? I think we are in that mix. And luckily, the conference is so tight, right? We're 2 games out of 6th, which would put us in the playoffs rather than the play-in. And we're only 2.5 games out of 4th. So it's not like we're so far behind that there's no way for us to catch up, right? If we just go on a significant run, we go on a 4-game win streak, all of a sudden we could be back into the 5th seed. That's just how jam-packed, and every game is going to matter. But it is of concern. In the same breath, you got Oklahoma City and on the road, and then you got the Boston Celtics on Christmas Day at home. All of a sudden, you could be a game under 500, and you still have like Minnesota and stuff. Like, you could easily be under 500, maybe even 2 or 3 games under 500 by the time this month is over. But again, to stay optimistic, I look at a couple things. One, we've seen what this Lakers team looks like in meaningful basketball and playoff atmosphere, playoff level basketball. You know, whether you want to clown and say like, oh, the in-season tournament is irrelevant, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. What matters is that all teams involved treated it like it mattered. All teams involved treated it like it was a playoff game. Playoff atmosphere, playoff environment, playoff everything. I mean, even the players reiterated that constantly, how they were able to replicate the playoffs early in the season. So we've seen that the Lakers can kind of turn it on come playoffs. And there's a part of me that looks at it like, okay, you see teams like, I mean, even the Denver Nuggets have had their struggles this year, right? I mean, they're not bad, but they've had their struggles this year compared to last year. And you see it every year in almost all sports. Team wins a championship. I understand it's not the Larry O'Brien, but it's still a championship. You're still putting in mental and emotional and physical just strength into that, right? Or energy into that. And it can wear on you. And then the Lakers have had the most back-to-backs, and the Lakers have had injuries constantly in and out, which means everybody's had to play harder and more minutes and different roles and bigger roles than they would have to otherwise. And I take into account that, like, okay, all of the travel, everything like that, it's been tough. And then I look at their schedule in January, and I'm like, okay, that could be a real month that they gain some ground. They have a lot of like very winnable games. You know, I mean, it's the way the Lakers play. I don't know how many games are winnable, but they have been beating the bad teams, right? Which is good. And you have a lot of very winnable games. You have a majority of that month at home. The Lakers have been a very good home team. They've been atrocious on the road, but they've been very good at home. You start the month of January on a 5-game homestand. Then you have 1 game on the road, and then you have 4 games at home. So literally 9 out of your first 10 games of January are all at home. And the 1 road game is against Utah. So that is very good. And I mean, technically, if you want to get real technical, you're talking like 11 out of your 12 games in that month of January are all at home. Because, like I said, you have the 5 home games. Then you got the Jazz on the road, which is the 1 road game. Then you have the 4 home games. And then you have the Clippers. And you're technically at the Clippers, but you're in Staples Center or Crypto, right? And then you have a home game with the Bulls. So that's a lot of like be at home games to where you can get some proper rest. You know, you get proper treatments because you're at home rather than, you know, traveling and using other teams' doctors. Like, it's just a better situation for the Lakers to where they can maybe gain some ground in January and really make a push going into like the trade deadline. And that's not counting if the Lakers end up making a trade or something like that, which I do believe the Lakers desperately need a trade. I mean, they do. Again, Lakers are one of the best defenses in the league. They haven't really been that great lately, but they still are one of the better defenses. They're still, as of yesterday, I don't know what it is after this loss, but as of yesterday, they were still 7th in the league defensively. They're like 26th offensively. They need a consistent scorer. Again, they don't have anybody outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis that can consistently put the ball in the hoop. And I understand a guy like a Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan or whatever, they don't play defense. Neither does D'Lo. Neither does really Rui, right? The guys that you're trading aren't going to play defense anyway. But the difference is that if you got a guy like a Zach LaVine or you got a guy like a DeMar DeRozan, they can consistently score. You're not going to have games from a DeMar DeRozan or a Zach LaVine, most likely Zach LaVine, just based on the reports. So let's stick with Zach LaVine, right? You're not going to have a game where Zach LaVine scores 2 points, right? It's just where D'Lo, that could be the case. I mean, most of these games, if Zach LaVine played, we'd probably have won, right? Because also, if Austin Reeves goes and gives you 20, well, guess what? You're probably winning most, if not all of those games, because now Austin Reeves' 20 is so much more impactful because you're going to have a guy like a Zach LaVine who's going to get you 20 plus. And teams are going to have to lock in on Zach LaVine. Teams aren't worried about Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves has to work for his points, right? He's not crazy athletic and can beat guys off the dribble or just elevate and shoot over the top or just blow by the defender and get to the basket and finish through the contact. I mean, he can get to the basket, but he has to be crafty. He can finish through contact, but again, he has to be crafty. He has to get through the teeth of the defense. He can't just be a bucket getter to where he can naturally just go score at will, right? Teams aren't double teaming him even when he's getting hot. Teams aren't worried about him. Teams are looking at it as like, hey, if Austin Reeves beats us, then Austin Reeves beats us. If he goes off for 50, then so be it. He goes off for 50. But we'll take our chances since that's never happened. Zach LaVine has scored 50 points this season. Zach LaVine by himself can go take over and win a game. And if you're going to play Zach LaVine one-on-one, he has shown throughout his career he's going to cook you. He's going to go get buckets. And that now takes pressure off of LeBron, takes pressure off of AD. We need it. I mean, we need more than just Zach LaVine, so we got to work other stuff out. Rob Pelinka is going to have to be creative. But Zach LaVine solves like 70% of our issues. Not to mention if you get some new players, right? You have like what happened last year. They weren't in the locker room. They weren't dealing with the struggles that the Lakers team was dealing with, all that stuff. They were new, fresh faces coming in, excited for this new opportunity and excited to try to help win a championship for their new team. So it's going to happen again. The Lakers, they need several things, but they got to do something because the Lakers are they're a sinking ship. They are. They're a sinking ship, and they're sinking fast. And we got to figure something out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree with my points? Disagree with my points? Whatever it is, I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.